SwissBorg is the official partner of my channel where you can buy, sell, hold and more importantly stake your cryptocurrencies. You can even earn yield on your stablecoins. Sign up with my link and you'll earn up to $100 worth of their native token CHSB just for depositing €50 worth of crypto. SwissBorg. Hello everybody, welcome back. There's a brief look at the exchange tokens today as we are crunching down to significant lows. Now last night in the Telegram I said I'm going to try a Heroes long around 16,000 if we hold. We're getting that ricocheted bounce. This is likely to take us up to 18 and see where we go from there. But that is, that's just something I missed unfortunately. It happened before I was awake. It happened in, as I was sleeping. I wanted to do a Heroes high leverage position on that one. So the TA seems to still be working, but the downwards pressure is enormous. Just a brief overview on Bitcoin. It's nothing different to what we've said over the last couple of days. Signs of capitulation very much in play here. That's a huge red wick. We've seen that. We've got bullish divergence on the RSI and on the money flow index with a constant couple of months worth of green histogram ticks. And divergence on the MACD. So things look on the long term like we could be turning around at some point soon, actually marking the end of a bear market. It's these sort of events which can catalyze that, if that's the right word. But the main thing we're going to talk about today is how exchange tokens are getting beaten up extremely badly, which is good for me because remember back in the summer I said some of the altcoins that I'm going to buy for the long term are the exchange tokens. They are no-brainers as far as I'm concerned. They've got built-in value to them and a utility. We can understand how they can make money and how they're supposed to increase in value over time and the incentive to hold them and the benefits of holding them. But wait until the bull market begins or the bear market comes close to an end. And seeing this exodus from exchanges, the smaller exchanges, some of them are not even that small, into the larger ones reminds me just like the game of Monopoly towards the end when all the larger players start to destroy all the smaller players. They take over their houses and their street names and their hotels and basically take over the market share of the board, which is what's going on within exchanges right now. We've seen the attempt to do that with FTX from Binance really, but it looks like FTX is probably just going to disappear into thin air, leaving the market open for places like Coinbase, because FTX is largely an American. They're the American powerhouse. They had the biggest market share in America. That's a big area that's looking to get sucked up, and it would appear that despite the horrendous downtrend of last week on the Bitcoin chart, we see something like Coinbase rally up about 25%, which is pretty impressive stuff. So I think when people say crypto's dead, they're mistaken. These are all the sort of things you hear people say frequently in a downwards market or horrendous red candles. That's the sort of thing you hear. Crypto's dead, man. It'll never recover. Blah. Heard it all before. I've heard it all before. So yeah, there is signs of life, and it looks like Coinbase might be getting excited about the potential taking over of not FTX, but FTX's black hole the void that it's left. I would expect the same thing from Crypto.com as well, but that's getting beaten up as well, subject to a lot of FUD, and come down to this major area of significance here, this flat horizontal from all the way back down over here back in 2020, which is more or less give or take about 5 or 6 cents. Now, if you believe that Crypto.com is going to go bankrupt or whatever, then don't buy it, obviously. But if you believe otherwise, then this is an absolute bloody steal. And if you ever wanted one of those Crypto.com cards, this is the time to really think about going in on this one, because this is decent. This is pretty decent. And again, I'm bullish on exchange tokens long term, provided that the exchange doesn't pull an FTX. So this is unbelievably horrendous as far as the pullback is concerned, but it's also a blessing in disguise if you're like me, that generally points to higher prices over the next few years for exchange tokens, especially something like Crypto.com. If you think about it, if they don't go bankrupt for whatever reason, I don't know the actual ins and outs of it. I know people are complaining that they hold a lot of SHIB, but that's subject to where they got it from. And remember, SHIB was one of the biggest movers of the entire market, so they could still be 100, 200x up from when they received it, so it might not be particularly a bad thing. I think it's more of a reflection of what their customers own rather than what they own personally. But anyway, I don't think Crypto.com's in any particular trouble, but if they are, then that's unfortunate, and you got to buy and hold these things at your own risk and trade on whichever exchange at your own risk. but it seems pretty awesome opportunity for me and for anyone else who wants to take the risk on buying it and holding it. You don't have to necessarily hold it there, but if something happens to crypto.com, then yeah, this turns to pixie dust and floats away in the breeze. Same thing with KCS. You see a nice big buyback on KCS as well. I missed out on this one. I wanted to do this since last Friday, but weekend comes, you know, I'm at the park, I'm at the outlet, I'm all over the place, you know, and before I know it, the weekend's over and I've missed any kind of potential move. But yeah, serious buyback, and now we're above the 200 weekly moving average, which is way better than something like Bitcoin. You think about what Bitcoin is on its weekly, there's its 200 weekly, horrendous, and KCS basically having a serious buyback on this one. And one other thing I was going to show you is that the CHSB, which is one of my new favorites, the crypto, the native currency to SwissBorg, basically, looking pretty decent, to be honest with you, on a weekly. We moved all the way up, had a very large move, about 50% move, retraced now, started a new candle on the 10 exponential. So again, yeah, I'm quite bullish on CHSB and SwissBorg generally. And the three main exchanges now that I've consolidated a lot of my funds into are SwissBorg, Binance and Coinbase, and it's a very simple answer to that, is that they have constantly, maybe Binance more recently over the last couple of years, but Coinbase and SwissBorg, you know, throughout their duration of their entire lifetime have been toeing the line with regulations since day one. You know, they're not Wild West traders. You know, they almost operate how you'd expect anyone to operate in a traditional market sense. You know, you have to have know your customer. You have to have various other steps of identification. They toe the line. You know, even SwissBorg's not available in America because they understand the repercussions of just, you know, pushing yourself into the market in an unregulated fashion. You know, they're speaking state to state in America to try and get themselves in there. And if they're not allowed in there, no big deal. They're trying to do it the right way. So I feel more comfortable holding larger sums of money in those three exchanges than I would do in something like crypto.com, given the FUD, KuCoin, given the FUD, Gate.io, and so on and so on. So those three, they stand out as reasonably safe places, given that I've followed them for at least Coinbase and Binance for a long time, and SwissBorg has only recently this year come onto my radar now. But they have all the hallmarks of a place that wants, you know, they're happy with regulation. So yeah, I mean, as far as their token is concerned, it's actually looking pretty bullish on the weekly here, despite the full retrace here. It's actually a decent place. Now, yeah, this week we are looking for a Dixie bounce, basically, which should have some kind of shock in the markets, as the Everything Bounce 2.0 could be coming to an end this week. The Dixie's destination is 104. That could even happen today. The size of the pullback on the Dixie has been pretty horrendous and fast approaching. So we'll see how that plays out over the next few days throughout this week. But overall, the capitulation in the market, is it's got the hallmarks of a bottom, either formed or forming. We've recognised this on Saturday's video, that we look for these capitulations like this. They don't necessarily mark the low, the red here. They don't necessarily mark it, but the bullish divergence with a little bit further down over the next few weeks could mark the low. So I think the low is getting ready to be printed, the absolute low, but it might not necessarily be here. I think we move up to 18,000 first. Maybe we come back down to make a new low after that, and maybe capitulate even further. But the signs of bottoms are fast approaching, especially when it comes to sentiment as well. Everybody's saying crypto's dead, get out of this, get out of that, crypto's dead, blah blah blah, what a scam. It's not. It's the same as it's ever been, really. It's the same as it's ever been. In fact, capitulation in the form of something like this FTX scandal, we could call it, might be the catalyst that takes place in the market to bring it down to an unreasonable low. But highlighting areas like 12,000 is still on the cards. We should just stand back and just see what happens with that. And rather than just buying into things blindly, unless you've got a setup that you're looking to try and play, it's dangerous. Definitely dangerous. It depends on your time horizon. It depends on your overall strategy, how much money you've got to play with, and where you're playing it with. But overall, I'm reasonably excited about the way that things are moving, especially when it comes to these exchange tokens, because I'm very bullish on those long term. So to see them come down to these ridiculous lows, for me, is an opportunity that's I'm definitely willing to participate in. Not at this actual price. We'll give it a week or so to see what happens next. The FUD for me is quite good, provided that it doesn't materialize into realistic liquidations and bankruptcies of these exchanges, which I honestly don't think it will be when it comes to crypto.com. Or I honestly, my gut instinct would be that it's not going to happen to them. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be safe. I've still got 3 or 4 grand in KuCoin that I'm going to use for bot trading. I'll just leave that there anyway, because that's my $1,000 to $50,000 challenge that I'm trying to pull off here. So I'll just leave that in there, and if it goes, it goes. No big deal. That doesn't mean you should be so blasé with your money. That's just me with mine. Right, thank you for watching. Let's just watch this week unfold. Next move, this current move takes us up to 18. Pretty much, I would expect that. And then most likely get a rejection. However, if we do break above there, there's no reason to think that we can't have a full-on tearing up move. Probably back up to 20 and see where we go from there. Things aren't as bad as they might seem, I have to say, but the FUD is real, the sentiment is extremely low, and normally that's a time to buy for the long term. But again, where you're going to buy, where you're going to hold your funds, it's completely your call. I've expressed my views on what I think is safest and why. It's up to you if you feel the same way. Right, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a nice day. I've got to get going now. Got to get my swimming trunks and take the kids swimming. Have a nice day, guys. Bye-bye.